In today's video, I'm going to break down an e-commerce brand that did over $200 million in sales. 9 figures, that's right. And so I'm going to break down the creative strategy, their landing pages, what they're doing with their entire infrastructure, how they're growing the business. But for the new viewers, if you are a new viewer to the channel, I'm Brando. I'm the founder of Brandlix Media. I've been fortunate enough to work with over 100 plus brands in the last 6 to 7 years. And the least that I can do is document everything in my YouTube channel. And so just so you understand the types of caliber of clients that we're used to working with, this is one of our own clients that just in Q4 alone generated over almost $6 million in sales. This is not a case study. This is just to show you the types of caliber of clients that we're used to working with. Okay, so let's get into the case study. The brand that I want to talk about in this video that did $200 million in sales is Burga. Okay, if you don't know this brand, they started with phone cases and now they're expanding into power banks or tablet cases and Kindle cases and drinkware, laptop protection, and many other things, as they should, which is something that I always preach. When I want to get to that 8-figure, 9-figure range, you have to start scaling horizontally from all perspectives. As you can see, I have a lot to show you over here, different sheets here and there, a bunch of other frameworks that I want to show, market stuff, product market fit, market conditions, UGC scaling processes. There's a lot to speak about, as realistic as it is, because they are doing quite good. And so let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to speak about over here is just to go over their ads, or I would say their funnel first, and then take a look at their ads, and then pull down the currents behind even more high-level information and strategies. So the one thing that I noticed overall, if we filter by active ads and everything, they're running, first of all, 800 active ads or more, over 1,000. I'm going to do that in just a second. But I'm noticing that 60% of their their ads are actually images and 40% are videos. I think it's very important to understand that these proportions are different based on each industry. This is an industry, just like also like home decor, that is, or apparel or clothing, that is very visual. So you can sell a phone case with an image, right? Because if they like the design, if they like the perceived value of it, they're probably going to click, right? And so these are also, keep in mind, niches and verticals that typically have lower cost per clicks, because you're selling visually appealing products, right? Which makes sense, right? Instead of like skincare that is a lot more saturated and competitive, right? For example. So keep that in mind. So we've had clients that sell similar products and are also in the home decor industry, and we've seen similar proportions in terms of images, videos, and carousel, etc. Let's take a look at the landing pages that they're promoting. Okay, as you can see, let's once again, before we do that, let's take a look at the number of active ads they have, just so we understand the level that we're dealing with. 1,420 active ads. That's millions of dollars per month in ad spend, just so you understand. Okay, and so these are the top landing pages, and as you can see, as I told you before, of course they're gonna spend the majority of their budget into probably half of their budget into like the top 2-3 landing pages. For example, their main website, which I'm going to show you, their a specific page, which I'll open up in just a second, which is a specific collection, and then other collections, and then of course maybe individual products. And they're also of course, as you can see here, expanding into Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Poland, I'm not sure what that is, Japan maybe, and other countries. Okay, and as I'm going to show you some graphs in just a second as well that explain this concept overall, but they're expanding and sending traffic to multiple funnels, this being their most popular one, where people can just go ahead, dependent on whether they're selling phone cases or earbuds. People just go through here and they click on what they like. For example, phone cases, which is the most popular ads, or what they're pushing the most, and then of course you can go in here and go through the funnel. Let's quickly go over it together, because it's really important to do that before we understand and break down other things. So first of all, very clean design, very sleek. I really like what they're doing with their perceived value, right, that they're portraying. Once again, for visual products, you need to have good video, good quality images. That's you can't compete against this industry unless you have that, right? Perceived value is really key. And so they sell different models, as you can see over here, a bunch of different models, different designs. There's a lot of upsells and downsells, because once again, they're not going to survive with a $20, $30, $40 case, right? It's really expensive nowadays to advertise, and so they're pushing and promoting. They have buy 2 get 2 free deal, which is always good to promote, right? I would actually put this more on the top, but maybe they're not really looking to push this, so maybe there's always a reason. There's other upsells over here, reviews, description, very simple, very sleek design. I also like that they invested into like some infographic or really high quality video, because once again, this really goes into the perceived value of the product, which is really fundamental. And so it seems like one of their unique value propositions is if that they have a bumper, which is kind of like those things that protect your phone, and on top of that they have like incorporated a beautiful phone case, right? Many times whenever we buy these like cool phone case designs, they don't have a bumper, they're not really protected, and so this seems like their unique value proposition. Join the team, whatever, Instagram, and then they have the reviews over here. Okay, so very sleek. Let's add to cart. Let's see what happens over here. The add to cart is really simple. Other checkout or upsells opportunities, continue shopping, or let's just say view cart, checkout. Really simple. And then that's basically it. Then there's a cart scarcity, which is always good to add scarcity to increase conversion rate. I would also add some other upsells over here if I were them. Maybe it's their brand choice because they don't want to do that, but I would do it over here because I'm seeing that they're really upselling. They're probably also having some post-purchase upsells, so after they complete the purchase, you're going to see other upsells. Now let's take a look at the ads very quickly and then dive deeper into other things. Really high perceived. It seems like a lot of these ads are just really focused on visuals, and so these are some other products that they're launching, but let's take a look either way.
Ever had a travel mug betray you? You trust it with your coffee and boom, lukewarm disappointment. Or worse, you toss it in your bag, thinking it's secure, only to find your...
So they're combining some pain points here, which is typically, you know, when you're selling phone cases, you're more selling it for the visual aspect of it, right? Instead of this boring phone case, buy mine, right? Kind of aspect, but it seems like they're also solving pain points with other complementary products. And also actually within the phone case because they have the bumper feature, right? Remember what I said before. And so this is a traditional B-roll shot where you get a bunch of UGC people filming B-rolls. I always speak about this in my videos, and you have them to do two things. Typically a normal UGC video, and then you also ask for B-roll, or either one or the other. Seems like they're really focusing on the B-roll aspect, and so for the same exact price, for like $200, $300, you can have one creator film like 20-25 different types of B-rolls. Once you have all the B-rolls, you can basically have the UGC creator like do B-roll variation 1, B-roll variation 2, 3, 4, 5, basically unlimited, and then combine it with the right script, which can also be done with like 11 Labs, for example. You can just go in here and you can create your own script. You can choose your voice, and then you can have like, you know, an AI script.
The 11 Labs voice generator.
Whatever, you can choose a better voice and do your own voiceovers. Okay, so this is really important, and this, it seems like how they're scaling. Let's take a look at some other couple of ads, maybe with phone cases, which I liked a lot. I actually have a couple open over here. Let me move myself and let's take a look at what they're doing.
Every year, I treat myself to a Berga phone case that represents the new me and my goals. For 2025, I'm focusing on self-love, being bolder.
So they're doing like very visual pleasing elements, I would say videos, some ASMR as well, like components. Let's take a look at this other one.
I put a spell on you, and it's called Moonlight. Berga's latest collection is bubbling with dark magic, celestial wonders, and more mystery than you can handle. And if you buy 4 phone cases right now, you only need to pay for 2. So hurry up.
So they're combining two things that I really like. Number one, an offer. I would put the offer also at the tested and put it at the beginning of the video, right? They also have a buy 4 pay for 2 offer, which is good so people can see it. But their style, and the reason I have these two ads pulled up specifically is because instead of just going through the entire library with you right now, I noticed that this is like their top kind of trendy type of video that's profitable, of course, or else they wouldn't have a lot. And so they're doing the offer component, and they're also doing the luxury elegant vibe with like people have beautiful hands as well, like nice desk behind, really like matches the personality of the brand and the characteristics of the brand, right? Let's take a look at maybe another couple if we can see, but even like these ones, same thing. Mysterious music, nice sounds putting together. I would actually increase maybe the quality of the microphone. It seems like coming from just an iPhone.
Just got your hands on the new Samsung S25 and you instantly
Drop it. Protect your phone and your style with a burger case. With over 300 designs to choose from, burger cases are made to last and to look seriously.
Yeah, so this is a combination of pain points and also cool aspects of the visuals and also solving a problem, right? So they're doing a lot of, once again, they're reproducing a lot of these things with creators, and they're doing two things: asking for b-rolls, as I told you before, b-rolls so that they can bind the b-roll scenes, what I showed you over here, with different scripts, and also just normal shots of a UGC creator just going through the phone case, doing this, whatever, and showcasing that they have a bumper, and doing like the ASMR stuff, showing the overall the elegance of the brand and the quality and the perceived value, right? And they're doing a lot of ads, 1,400 active ads, millions of dollars in ad spend. Okay, what is the end results, by the way, when you do this UGC approach with b-rolls, is that you come up with like mega folder of final creatives that you can test. And guess what, you can then just be also creative. I don't have it over here, but you can also be creative in testing multiple. Let me just open it up. Or is it? You can be very, very creative by also doing things like this, for example. If I can find it, obviously I can't because it's a video and I need it to be ready, but I'm not. I'm there it is. There it is. For example, you can do like b-rolls like this with different scripts. Then you can also do like, you can keep the same winning script and change the different b-rolls. As you can see, different b-roll components. You can also do the same script with different hooks, right? Different hooks, same b-roll structure, right? There's a lot of ways to scale this infrastructure to reproduce a lot of different creatives, right? And scale, right? And everybody thinks that every single video like it's $100 or $200. Like, it doesn't have to be like this. You have to be very good at repurposing, having editors, which is of course not everybody has access to those resources, right? But that's what 8-9 figure brands do. And so I do want to speak about one really important thing before I move on, and it's like approaching a competitive market, because we can all be like, I understand if you're thinking, oh, this is a super competitive market, maybe they have funding, maybe they have this, they have that. Trust me, I've gone and scaled brands of my own clients that are really entering competitive markets, and they all have one thing in common. They are aware of that, of a couple things, that it takes time to actually crack that market, but most importantly, that you need to have a sleek and the sleekest website, offer, creative, images, videos, graphics, customer journey, branding. I don't have to keep on, right? So keep on ranting about that. And so this is actually a previous video that I did where I recommended people to, instead of going to a competitive market, you should go and go towards a competitive market, but find your own niche and blue ocean, which is maybe instead of doing skincare, you do skincare for black people that have dark skin, right? To solve a specific issue, and then you start expanding later on. Or for wine, people that are wine lovers in a specific industry. For apparel, people that like, I don't know, clothing for superheroes or something like that. And so you're really niching down and finding your own spot in the market, which is really an approach that I really consider. And then you expand later. But if you also would just want to go after really competitive markets, you need to have the things that I mentioned before: branding, cool website, graphics, images, great ads, all the things that I mentioned. That has to be at least a foundation, okay, if you go after these markets. So I would also recommend for you to go after like big markets. Just be ready to like be a bit more patient, spend a bit more money, and invest more into your brand from the get-go, because then you have zero chance. Okay, I also want to talk about a quick ad account structure that has been really working well for us, and it seems like they're doing as well from the outside. Hard to tell because it's from the outside, but I'm getting into 2025 and I'm noticing that all of our clients are just doing better with this ad account structure. And I'm going to explain, if you're also selling products, and you're also selling in a vertical that has a lot of SKUs, a lot of variations, a lot of different like phone cases, and with different colors and different collections, right? It also, your ad account could get confusing, right? And so the way that we do it is that each product and each collection, it could be collection and product type, is a different campaign. And within that campaign, which is a CBO that starts typically at $100-$200 a day at a minimum, we start stacking ad sets, which are basically either new angles or creative concepts. For example, if we go over here and we take a look at the ad angles that they're promoting, right, we can see that they're scaling horizontally with different ad angles. So one is like the style upgrade, the aesthetics, the protective design, effortless elegance, affordable beauty, which is a big one, saving, right, convenience, durability. Like all these are different marketing angles, and they would probably be like, this is the durability, this is the luxury, affordable luxury, right? All different angles. And then you can also scale even more horizontally with creative concepts. What is a creative concept? A creative concept is something like this. Let me show you. So I'm showing you one of my Google Sheets that we use for for all of our clients. So the way that we scale, once again, is once we find the angles that work, we try to scale horizontally with different creative concepts. And so you can see that with the ASMR video style, the problem solving style, the us versus them style that I showed you, right? All of these are all different creative concepts. If you want access to these creative concepts, and then of course also a bunch of other, as you can see here, sheets, CRO sheets, storyboards, email flows, campaigns, TikTok shop, create a daily report. You can plug in your numbers here, and it's all color coded. If you want, this is like a side note, if you want access to this, there's a link down below where you can just give us your email, and you're gonna receive a copy in your inbox in like 30 seconds. So this is really valuable, and we also have inspirational links. So this is one way that they're actually scaling their ad account. And so just to show you very quickly, the foundation of getting to over $1 million a month is doing exactly what they're doing: scaling their angles, scaling their creative concepts, scaling their offers, buy one get two free. They're not doing too much of that just because of the nature of their product, but scaling with markets, as you saw before, they're selling to Italy, Germany, right? I showed you. And scaling with products, this is probably their biggest opportunity, is to find other winning emerging products that work well on the front end, right? With like other like phone cases and bumpers and tablet cases and stuff like that, and other also like bottles, water bottles and stuff like that. And then scaling with different types of personas, 25, 35, 45 to 60. This is the blueprint to get to the 7-figure per month mark or 8-figure per month mark, right? And so this is kind of like, I always show this diagram, but it's really, really valuable. This is probably what you're doing. If you're doing like 7 figures, you find a winner, you're scaling with some angles, you're scaling with some creative concepts, you're doing a bit of this, a bit of that, and it's working. But then when you want to get to the multiple 8-figure, 9-figure mark, you got to do a lot more horizontally, a lot more work. Typically a team needs to be involved with scaling with angles, as you can see, and same thing with creative concepts. Sorry, I'm in New York. They're bumping and my right ear is like hearing the cars going crazy. The next thing that you need to do is creative concepts. So once you have the winning angles, you have to scale more horizontally, once again, with more creative concepts, because that's how it works. And then of course one is going to outweigh the other, meaning that one creative concept is probably going to outperform the other. So do 80% of that, but the 20%, I always say 80%, 20% rule. 80% goes towards the angles and the creative concepts that we're scaling, and 20% goes towards new angles that you never tested before and new creative concepts that you never tested before. Okay, so this is how the distribution should work. This is fundamental because it keeps the business profitable and scaling, and this is really fundamental because it adds to the 80%, because if you don't test, of course, you don't find new winners that go towards the 80% of your resources, team, time, and everything, investments. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. This structure is very simple. Once again, we scale with creatives. We don't scale with demographics. We don't scale with interests. We leave everything broad, and most cases we do D2C. So we give it 3 images or videos, 2 headlines, and 2 ad copies, and then we let Facebook, with flexible ads they're called, Facebook decide how it wants to mix and match. The most important thing, and your targeting, is going to be your creative. The creative is your targeting, not the interests anymore. It's your targeting. Okay, so the creative is the targeting. This is really, really important. And so what happens is that every single week we go in and launch 4, 5, 7, 10 additional ad sets, depending on how much you're scaling and how much your budget is, and we scale horizontally within the ad account. And then of course, as soon as we see something works, we follow this framework. You can kind of pause this this if you want, so that you can read it. It's some very, very clear rules about testing and scaling. So we test with these conditions, right? I'm not going to go through this in this video. There's other videos where I went through this, but you can pause it. It's very, very simple to understand. And then we scale with this framework. Long story short, we typically increase budgets by 15-20% every 24 hours if it's profitable. So we go from 100 to 120, 120 to 160, whatever that is, and we keep on scaling every other day, every single day, until it's like unprofitable for 3 days in a row. Then we start descaling back. But this is the infrastructure that we use, and it's a creative first perspective, right? CBO, one campaign is a product or a collection, right? And then in their case, it's, you know, they would probably have multiple CBO campaigns because they have different collections, a lot of different SKUs, and a lot of different products. And then we scale with creative only foundations. Okay, hopefully this video was valuable. Let me see if there's other things that I'm going to talk about in this video. I also have a UGC base, really important. Whenever you scale with UGC, you actually need to have a UGC foundation. So we have our own. You can join our school community if you want access to this list. I think there's like 600, 700 creators or something like that, filtered by skin, hair type, body type, if they have pets, stuff like that, and also across multiple countries, as you see here in the bottom. But if you want to do your own, I consider going like Twitter. I always z.com, x.com, go on Twitter, go on Facebook groups, do beauty UGC, and I always do this, and you can find your own people here. There's a bunch of people that you can find. Also, Facebook groups is a great one. A lot of different resources. One other thing that I do want to mention about them that it's really allowing them to grow is having a foundation organically. They almost have $1 million. They're posting very regularly, 30,000, 100,000, 60,000 views. This is really good, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe 15-20% of their sales come from purely organic. And trust me, if you have that foundation, scaling your paid ads is going to be 100,000% easier. And they're also on Amazon. Last time I checked, Amazon Burga. Yeah, and so this is also allowing them to really nail down their brand presence and authority. Right, let's see the Burga store. Seems like they're also doing quite well. They have a lot of reviews, Once again, they have a lot of products. So even if you see like maybe a 50, 100, 200 only sold in a month, they're scaling really horizontally with many products. So that adds up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing like $2, $3, $4 million on Amazon just alone from their Amazon store. And so once again, all of these reviews are a lot. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions, any specific questions. If you want access to this sheet, once again, there's a link below. And if you're a brand doing at least around $100,000 a month, and you want to partner with somebody that basically works with you, handheld, we work together, and it's not consulting, it's actually a done for you service where we partner up. We don't own any equity. We're just invested as if we were equity owners, which is one of our value proposition. We only work with like 10-12 clients. So if we have capacity, you know, we can have a conversation about it. But book a call. That's the first step. Book a call. We have an audit. We go over the business together. And if we feel like there's an opportunity to do something, which is not always the case, honestly, then we can partner up if it's a fit. And then we can go from there and get you to the 8-figure plus mark, or potentially 9 figures one day. Okay. See you on the call, maybe, and definitely see you in the next video. Bye.